What's up, former party people? This is Jerry, the one who actually combs his hair on the A is for Alcoholic podcast. Now, if you're finding value in listening to the AIFA podcast every week, and you want to support sharing it with others, we invite you to become a sustaining monthly or per show contributor. Go to patreon.com/AIFA. It's super easy and it only takes a quick moment. It's about as easy as buying one of those pre-cooked space chickens from the grocery store, taking it outside, giving it a big old kiss, and kicking it into traffic. Why would you do that? Anyway, you do you, and I'll do me. Again, go to patreon.com/AIFA. And with that, people, let's start the show.
A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Welcome back to the A is for Alcoholic podcast. My name is John Staley.
My name is Jerry Wagner.
Yes, it is. We are here again to discuss alcoholism and sobriety, and all the fun stuff that comes with it.
Today we're talking about model trains.
Yes.
What
do you know about? Do you know anything about model trains?
I just know I typed in Conductor World one time towards you at a hashtag, and it was like weird video game and it wasn't model trains at all. I know nothing.
It was a Conductor World hashtag, and like there was some weird stuff. Yeah, I think it is a video game. It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon for
trains, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. Walter's into model trains.
Yeah, you could tell by his outfit.
That's right. So, A is for Alcoholic. Real quick, if you're looking for Christmas cards, go check us out at greencamelpress.com. They're one of our sponsors. We just put out a new podcast for Gluten is Not Your Problem called Too Much Lube, where we talk about why Walter doesn't drink vodka Red Bulls anymore.
The name of the episode is Too Much. I thought your new podcast was called Too Much Lube.
No.
This is sex advice. Just advice about sex.
No, I don't know that I would want to do that. But I don't know if anybody wants to hear me talk about sex. They do.
I've hered it. There's nothing new. Yeah, we haven't summited any new peaks there with that one. Yeah.
But I'll also I talk with Walter, and he's got some good stories. And then I also recently celebrated a 4-year anniversary with my girlfriend, which is cool.
Right.
And we did a podcast about that on Rashida and John. So
congratulations, y'all.
We picked 4 things that we had learned, or 4 gifts that we had learned in 4 years, and
oh my God,
really nice. So
that's really sweet. You guys, it's all brand new. I just look at my wife and I'm like, oh, it's May. All right, here's something. I love you. Don't die before me.
Right. So go check all that good stuff out. And today we're gonna do our usual Q&A. Mm-hmm. I've asked people. All of the questions I got were from Instagram. So for those of you out there, if you have any questions, send them to us. Please email, Facebook, whatever. We'll do it again for our next Q&A episode. I do want to say as well, thank you to all the people on Patreon. We just recorded a movie review for The Shining for Halloween. Mm-hmm. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we talked about the themes of alcoholism, child abuse, and everything else that goes into those horror movies.
Scatman Crothers' Badass House.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. That too. And so let's start with our questions and our answers.
Right.
So our first one comes from at Sally Deck. And she says, what resources do you like? Podcasts, books, blogs, other groups, and she put in parentheses running club, which I've not yet joined a running club, but do you have any podcasts in particular?
In regards to recovery or just in general?
Recovery. in regards to recovery, I guess, resources.
I listen to the Sobercast a lot. And I did Annie Grace's for a little while, but it's only like 5 minutes long, so it's not really something I can put on and like make dinner unless I'm making ramen or something. But
Right.
I mostly do Sobercast, actually, more than anything, really, just because I like. I mean, once again, I'm not affiliated with AA in any way, but I love listening to AA speaker meetings. I love them. Yeah, I love them. I've always liked the speaker meetings. I like going to them. I like listening to them.
Another good one is Radio Rehab.
Oh yeah,
with
that
this
is a great one. Yeah.
So Dana Keys, and she's a radio DJ in San Francisco, but she also does this podcast where she has people come on, and I was on the show, which was very cool. And she interviews people and talks about sobriety and alcoholism and all that good stuff. I think those are the main ones for me.
Well,
there was
yeah.
the guy from. Who was the guy from that punk band that you sent me? I think his
Jack
name was
Grisham, yeah, the 12-step one. I listened to a couple of them. They're pretty good. I like his speaker meetings a lot.
He
But
was
yeah.
good, but he didn't put anything new. Like he did a few, and then it was just done.
Yeah,
It was still good.
yeah.
And then I would also suggest I like the Rich Roll podcast.
That's the other one I was going to suggest when he has recovery stuff. Just his stuff in general is really good.
His stuff in general is really good. It's pretty broad, so I mean, like maybe you're not interested in listening to the guy who founded Impossible Burgers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, you might be, but then he'll have somebody who's on who's talking about health and fitness, and then when he has somebody on that talks about recovery and addiction, there's some really cool stuff. So
Yeah.
And books, I would say Russell Brand's book was really great.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Recovery. What else? What other books did I read about recovery? I have the Refuge Recovery book, but I haven't cracked it yet. It's on
I've
the
read
list.
a little bit of both of those, and they're pretty good. If that's the course you want to take with your recovery, it's pretty great. You know, taking the Buddhist aspect, the meditation aspect can be really helpful. I also have read. I really enjoyed this atheists. It was an atheist and agnostic guide to AA, where it was a man who had pretty much like laid all the steps out, but taken all the kind of not evangelical, but all the like theologic, like all the God talk out of it, and just kind of
Right.
turned it on its ear. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Right. Oh, This Naked Mind was great. I mean,
Yeah.
speaking of Annie Grace, I really enjoyed that. It's much more. Hers is a. It seems like a much like practical and scientific route to changing the way you think about alcohol.
Right.
I really liked it. I found that I personally require more in my recovery.
Right.
That level of just science and changing my thinking wasn't enough for me.
Right.
That I just wasn't built that way, or I wasn't strong enough. I required what I see as, a higher power,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's
Right.
And again,
right.
not to get into the program that Jerry and I subscribe to, the Secret Society, the Fight Club of Recovery. But I think that's important to find the thing that resonates with you.
Right. That's the most important thing, because I feel like the philosophy of recovery is not a one-size-fits-all. We're all different people, and we all come from different places, and we all have different ways of looking at life. And so for me to tell you that AA is going to be the only thing that works for you is a disservice not only to you, but to AA. Do you know what I mean? So that's how you end up with books being written, how this program doesn't work, and trying to push people off a program that could potentially help them or could potentially not help them. But I'm just saying, like, I always, if we get into the meat of it, I always thought it was really kind of fucked up that the court system would send people to AA meetings, make them mandatorily go, or that rehabs would mandatorily make people attend these meetings. Because I'm like, if that doesn't work for them, then all you're doing is turning them off to any idea of recovery. They need to find this shit organically, Yeah.
It's true.
If that's what works for them, Yeah.
And then the one said, she asked if there's any blogs. And here's something that I started a blog on aisforalcoholic.com. I put a few things out there. I'm very proud of the things that I put out there. And one of the things I'm going to do for the new year is make a resolution to put out one a week or something like that, because I feel like I've not failed, but I have not given it the attention that it requires.
Right.
But, if you want to go check out asforalcoholic.com, there is a blog there, and there are a few posts. And, yeah.
I don't read blogs.
I'm
I'm not against them. I'm just not interested in them very much.
Right.
But what I would recommend as far as using that, things like that for a resource is Reddit. And there's the Reddit. It's the Reddit for stop drinking. It's called r/stop drinking. It's fucking awesome. The Reddit for Alcoholics Anonymous I read sometimes. That's r/Alcoholics Anonymous. And then Redditors in Recovery is really good too. And it's all r/ and then Redditors in Recovery. Those three have been helpful. The stop drinking one is great. I think it's really great. They've formed their own community there, and they've been really fucking helpful with each other.
Super supportive with everyone. Okay, next question, Jerry, is from username Dirk Zaster. And you may I think Dirk lives in Portland.
Maybe. Yeah.
He and his wife make hot sauce up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that I don't know.
Do you remember? Well, I don't want to put anybody out there that doesn't want to be put out there.
Oh, are we talking about Dirk?
Yeah.
Dirk. I know Dirk. Yeah, there's not very many Dirks in the world.
No.
But then you're like, Dirk makes hot sauce? I'm like, I don't fucking know. No. I don't know no hot sauce, man.
I think maybe his wife makes hot sauce, but he also has a podcast called VH Us. Did I tell you about this?
No, but if it's Dirk, that's rad. I like Dirk. He's cool.
Yeah. So it's called VH Us, and I suggest anybody who's interested go check this out. So what he does is, because he grew up working in a video store, and so he'll take an old movie from like the 70s or 80s or even the 60s, and then say there was a movie about a psychic. It was a horror movie about a psychic who does something crazy, right? And so then he'll talk about that movie, and then he'll have a psychic on the podcast and interview a real psychic about what was and so it's just an interesting it's
That's
really
pretty
cool.
rad. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So he asks, what was your bottom? And I know that for both of us,
that's a great question, right?
Like it wasn't some crushing. Well, I mean, there were many little crushing moments that finally just collapsed the whole thing.
Yeah.
For me.
Right.
I mean, I remember the moment and going, oh God, I'm going to lose everything that I have, the house and the job, and I destroyed a relationship and my car that I had just purchased and still owed a lot of money on, and I had been driving drunk, and it was just all these things swirling in my head, and I was like, I just got to stop. And so I don't think it was one thing. I didn't have a DUI, and I didn't, it was just this culmination. It was this overwhelming sense of fear and dread and doom, I think, to the point where I was like, I can't drink anymore.
Right.
Like, because this is how it was like, this is how it ends up every single time, feeling this way. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I'm fucking sick and tired.
Right.
And that was the point where I said, I'll stop for a week. And that was, 4
and here we are.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and mine wasn't necessarily a big crushing thing. I always say it was like, my wife was going to leave me and take my daughter, which she absolutely was. But I mean, if the desire to keep drinking remained, I probably wouldn't have overcame it, but I could have accepted it and continued to drink. And like, I think when people think of the bottom, they think of, DUIs and shit like that. And it wasn't the one time I woke up outside bleeding. It was the fact that I would wake up outside bleeding regularly and just accept that was normal shit to do. That was kind of like the pathway to my bottom. That was when I realized that like what I was accepting in my life was not only unhealthy but potentially deadly, and those invasive thoughts were becoming more and more common. All that suicidal ideation became so common that it was just a running monologue in my head. That was my bottom. When I was like, not only was I thinking about killing myself, but I was making plans, and that's when I knew, like, man, I don't want to die like that, So I think that was when I had my moment. It wasn't even like woke up outside, 69 in a hobo, it wasn't anything like that.
There was no prison. There was no,
No, I got very lucky, and I'm really grateful that there was no prison, or there was no murder, or no fucking, you know what I mean? No major assault.
Vehicular manslaughter or anything.
Yeah, I'm very
horrifying.
grateful that I didn't, mine was pretty mid. Mine was pretty mid-range.
middle bottom. Yeah, I am the same way, and I'm glad that I found what I found when I found it, because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, yeah. Woo. Yeah.
So these next two questions are kind of related, and they come from. Sorry, I was just thinking about that. The bottom was exactly where it needed to be. But Germboy33, who on Instagram uses a piece of your artwork.
Yeah, I think he's an Arizona dude. Yeah, I'm not quite sure our relation, but I know he's an Arizona dude.
Okay.
I don't want to give away too much about old boy because I don't know.
Germboy33.
Yeah.
He says, did you have the desire to create while you were active, and also how has sobriety affected your creative side? I'll let you go first on this one.
I absolutely had the desire to create while I was active because that was just me. I've always made things. Like, not made, that's a weird way to put it. Like, I'm just in the backyard building a radio antenna for the aliens or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah, with a mannequin, like, I made a girlfriend. But no, exactly. I've always made art. Like, have never not made art. The minute I could be able to make art, I made art. So while I drank, I actually honestly believe that drinking was justification to make art. Because I felt like in that period of my life that if I drank, I could drop my inhibitions and therefore become more creative. Because I could do those things that I was scared to do when I was sober, which wasn't the fucking truth at all. So I use it as an excuse to still create. I mean, my personality was deeply founded in being an artist, And I think in the beginning, I was so consumed with trying to level out and sober up and just be normal that I didn't create for a while. And I still don't paint as much as I used to, but that comes more with like the mundaneness of just being alive. Being a dad and like school and kids and this rando fucking cat now and all this other extra shit, So I still create. I still feel compelled to create, but I just don't as much just because of life, But early on in recovery, I didn't create anything really. I wrote a lot. I wrote a lot of fucking bad poems. But it's just too hard, man. I was just too busy trying not to fucking cry, all the time. And trying to go to work and hold my shit together and try not to crawl out of my fucking skin like a cicada, like, ugh. Yeah. What about you? You're a creative person.
I've always been a creative person. And that's taken on many different forms for me. And when I was drinking, when I was active, I think it's a funny way to put it, like when I was active.
When I was active. Yeah, like we had sweatpants on and a fucking, right? Sweats wicking shirt.
I had some dirty old sweatpants. I didn't, anyhow, I think that, and I've mentioned this before, but I would write poems on my computer. And I would have this whole thing with myself where I would be like, okay, it's fine if you drink too much and it's fine to be hungover as long as you have like something to show for it. And then that would be like the thing. I'd be like, I wrote a poem last night, and which oftentimes it would be terrible. It wouldn't be much. And most of my time was spent drinking instead of writing. And there would be times where nothing would show up and I would still be hung, many times where it would be like 3 or 4 lines, and then it would just be the word fuck.
Right.
With like a million K's and exclamation points.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd wake up feeling like shit. Like feeling horrible, from drinking like too much cheap white wine, like 3 bottles or something like that, And so I would always make these deals about it was okay to drink as long as I created something, right? So that it was justifiable, like you said.
Right.
And, but nothing good ever came. Very few things came out of it that were long term things that I'm still proud of.
Right.
And there's a lot of poems that could be seen as good, but it's just a lot of sadness, and it's a lot of like longing, and it's a lot of wanting to romanticize these really dark feelings. And I don't feel that way anymore, and I'm not really proud of them. They're just uninteresting.
Right.
To me,
right?
And when I look at that stuff, and I'm like, God, it's just bad. It's just bad poems, and they really are bad. They're just really
I hear you.
They're not. They're rambling and sad, and I think now, like when you talk about like, let's put together, the stuff that I do today is a lot of creativity. I think there's a whole aspect of it that is a lot of hard work that's not really inspirational. There's all the like technical minutia. Like when you talk about, like, say you have an idea and you don't just slap the paint up on the canvas, you got to like put the canvas together, then you got to draw it out. And there's like all these, you think about how many hours it takes to put things together. So
right.
like we create this podcast every week, and then once we're done talking, which is to me the most rewarding and fun part, I then have to sit in front of the computer and I have to pull up the audio program and all this and upload, and then I got to write show notes, and it's like, well, I want to be creative with the show notes, but what am I going to say? And do people even read the fucking show notes on
I do.
Apple Podcast?
I do. Yeah, because I want to
Okay.
know what the podcast is about. Sometimes they'll be like, with our guest, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, who the fuck is blah, blah, blah,
Right.
I
So-
appreciate that because I do nothing. I just show up and talk, and then I have a shitty attitude about talking, and then I leave.
So maybe I can get Jerry to write some blog posts.
I
later
should
on
probably,
next year.
just like one paragraph.
It doesn't need to be much. I'm gonna try to do it once a week. So I feel like my productivity and the things that I create are exponential compared to what I used to do.
Yeah.
Exponential. The A's for Alcoholic book that we've been working on, I've been putting some real time into it and trying to figure out, like, I have to go out there and find somebody to help me publish it.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like and what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what it looks like yet. But, the writing, I do way more writing than I ever did. I write every single day now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's like a lot of it is just sort of journaling to get the cobwebs out of my head every morning. But so it's the amount and the quality far outweigh anything that I made while I was drunk.
Yeah.
Far outweighed. So I think that's something that I would say if somebody was like, God, I need alcohol to create. I would say that I don't anymore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would say that I understand that feeling and that I know exactly what it's like to be in that hole and feel like the only way that I can create something special is to be drunk. But also, whenever I'd look back on it sober, I never thought it was that good.
Right. It's
So-
sloppy. It's drunk people shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. The power was within you all along.
This is from Sober Sinky, who is her name is Kristen, and she was on the podcast as well. So if you go back, you can listen to her. Kristen Weiss is her name, and she asks, "How long have y'all been sober?" She's from Texas. How long have you been sober, Jim?
Long enough to know better. No, that's a stupid answer. I have been sober since July 4th, 2014. So September, October. So what is that? 5 years and 3 months.
I've been sober, July 6th of 2015. So, 4 years and 3 months. Is that
Right.
3 months? Yeah.
3 months, yeah. What if we were
4 years
like,
and 3
what
months.
time is it right now?
What time is it? I mean,
I've been sober for 3 hours.
yeah,
No, yeah,
Dude,
it's 5 years. What's that?
I've had some people, they come into a meeting and they're like, yeah, man, I'm working on 24 hours or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah,
And it's like,
I've sat next to him. I've sat next to dudes who are still drunk. But I'm like, hey, man, you're here. Your ass is in the seat, That's good.
welcome.
Welcome.
So,
Would you like
I
some
think-
Jolly Ranchers?
yes, they will help.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, and I think, I don't want to get too corny about it, but it's like that one day at a time. This is the only day that really matters, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
I can
Yeah. That's
I
all
know
I
it
really
sounds
got is
fucking
24 hours. I just happened to line all those 24 hours up for 5 years and 3 months. That's a fucking goddamn smoke show. I have no idea how I did that. Well, I do. I don't and do. Do you know what I mean? Like, you ever
It's
look back and
cumulative.
go, how the fuck did I do that? How the fuck am I doing this? Like, me? Like, I'll look at myself in the mirror and be like, you? Really? How the fuck did you accomplish anything other than just fucking your life up? Like, who
Yeah.
are you, dude?
What was that? There was a picture you posted up on your Instagram of you from
That was from
years
like
past.
Christmas of 2013, dude.
And I was like, you looked so big. Like
Yeah.
you look like the dude from fucking Indiana Jones. Who was the
Oh, the fucking dude with the
Dr.
fez?
Jones.
Yeah, I can't remember his
Yeah.
name.
You look
Fezro.
so
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were big and bearded, and like I was like, God damn. Like
Yeah.
that's I mean, you have made strides, and it just takes that like every single day. Do a little bit of this.
Do just a little bit of this every day, and do a lot of
know?
not drinking every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Do a lot of not drinking every day, and then a little bit of the other things that keep you alive, and you should be all right.
The guy that I get my fruit and veggies from at the fruit stand here was like, man, I've never seen anybody. He's talking about the weight that I've lost, and he's like, I wish I could go running like that, man, but me and running, we don't get along. And I was like, it's not about that. Like when I started this shit last year, I would walk 1 mile and I would hate it.
Right.
But that's all I could muster was walking 1 full mile.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I just went out there and started sprinting right away. And so it's like that's those little things, and it gets easier and easier and more, and I feel like these things gain momentum. Like
They do.
It's that little it's like a snowball,
I would look at a dude with 5 years of sobriety and be like, that's fucking, I can't even fathom that. I can't even fathom 24 hours. Do you know what I mean? And I try not to wave the 5 years around like it's a badge of honor or anything. I just, like I said, I happen to stack up 5 years, 24 hours. But yeah, like that's, like you said, it's cumulative. I can't pronounce it right now. Cumulative.
Perfect. Look at you.
That fucking stroke. I just had a stroke right now.
But it's a testament to the tunnel vision that comes with drinking, because cumulative.
Yeah, you saw me lipping it, didn't you? Yeah, I was like,
it's a testament to the tunnel vision that happens when we drink.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
because all I would think of is, how can I get a drink tonight? Where am I going to go to get that drink? What time does the bar close? Or what time do we need to leave the bar to catch the cab, to get to 7-Eleven, to get the 12-pack, to get home?
But look at all that planning already. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so I can have a couple more hours before I pass out at 4 a.m. because I got to wake back up. But the 4 a.m.'s got to be like the latest that I go to bed, because I got to wake up at 11 because I got to be at work at 1. And so, like...
Yeah, if I sleep from 4 to 10, I'll get 6 hours of sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, that was my whole life.
Yeah.
It's just that. So, one day at a time.
One day at a time.
And also from her, how do you stay motivated on your sobriety journey? What motivates you?
Routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even motivated by any bigger goal at this point. Like, I have a pretty routine life. Like, I have a routine that I do every day, and I get up every day at 6:30. Sometimes 6 if I'm sleeping like crap, but it's just the routine of getting up every day at 6:30 and getting ready and getting the kid ready and everything. It's just that thing I do over and over again, and that's really what motivates me, is the fact that I feel I can get up at 6:30 and I feel okay. Like, sometimes I feel good. That's my motivator. So to me, I'm not like, oh, if I fucking stay sober for 5 more years, I get a fucking Miata, or like I get to get a fucking Mini Cooper if you know what I mean? Like, I haven't even rewarded myself. I'm just like, if I just keep doing this, I get to be okay, and I just want to be okay. Because when you have a headache, all you want to do is not have a headache. And when you don't have a headache, you don't even realize you're not having a headache. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because I get migraines, and when I have migraines, I just try to think about the times I don't have them. And when I don't have, like right now, I don't have a headache, and I'm like, don't even think about it. You know what I mean? But I should be super fucking grateful that I'm not like in blinding pain right now. I shouldn't even have brought it up, though. I got to knock. Because sometimes they come in, I let them in like a ghost. But but I think it's just that. It's just being alive and not being inert. It feels good.
I think that's definitely, too, something for me. Routine is important, and although my life is probably not nearly as routine as yours, getting up around the same time for me, doing, like setting the coffee pot, writing in my journal, getting on an exercise routine, like going for a run of some kind,
right?
Which I didn't do because I have a race this weekend, Jerry. So I'm resting my legs.
Going out to the desert. Bring me back a scorpion.
Yes, I will. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to Joshua Tree to run a half marathon. But
that's what motivates John.
That's that too. That's
Talking
actually,
about
that's
his
true.
half marathon is what motivates him.
It's true. Talking about it. No. But that's part of it. Is like, okay, so this is something that I a year ago, or especially 5 years ago, I would have thought crazy, fucking stupid, insane, unattainable for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm doing this thing that's absolutely fucking crazy, but it's not so crazy anymore. And I think that that's like something that motivates me, is like, okay, so what can I do next? Like, have something that, you know, like have something to be excited for. I think is something that motivates me.
Yeah.
In staying sober, and just that feeling of, I still get excited about waking up and being like, oh yeah, I can just get out of bed.
Right.
There's none of this debilitating hangover to fucking like wade through. Oh, here's one from at Jerry Wagner Jr. It says, "When do we get to stop?"
Yeah,
What
that's
did you mean
great.
by
That's
that?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I meant it was up at 6:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Fuck, when do we get to stop?"
Stop
I don't
being
mean
sober?
no.
being-
Stop doing the
oh.
podcast. I think is what
Oh.
I was just like. Do I ever get a break here? Or
I think Jerry might need a little vacation. He's a little Christmas break. We'll
I
see.
need a little staycation, a little Christmas break. Oh, thanks, boss. I don't know. I think I was just being a smartass in general. Not even just the podcast. I think it was just one of those cryptic Jerry Wagner Jr. When do we get to
Okay.
stop? I'm glad you called me out on the podcast, though. That's good.
I just thought it was funny, and I didn't know what you
It's
meant.
like, when do we get to stop? Not being sober, because I like it. I like it, actually. I'm actually enjoying it. Yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah, I feel good. I got to go to a rich person party tonight, and I'm like, I get to be sober to that thing. I get to eat their fancy cheese and enjoy it.
Well, so this goes into the next. Is it gonna have fancy cheese?
Fuck yeah.
person
Why didn't you tell me how fancy this cheese was? Or was how
some
good?
Ziploc bags,
Why didn't you
dude.
tell me how good this cheese was? That was that Chappelle Show joke with Arsenio Hall at the cheese party. Slaps that guy in the face. Yeah.
Why did you tell me how good this cheese was?
Yeah.
This leads us into our last section of, but this your question about when do we get to stop? Turner Painting, Texas, or TX.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's cool too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
He says recovery versus recovered. And so this is kind of what I
Ooh,
thought
yeah.
you were referring to.
Right, good
when you said,
question.
when do we get to stop? Like, kind of being a smartass, but like,
Right.
are we, your dad always says it's, we're not.
We're not
What is it?
alcoholics. We're in long-term recovery. It's his new thing.
Right.
Right.
So I guess the idea
Or it's not
behind
his
this
new
question
thing. It's
is-
just a concept he really likes. I don't mean to be so
Right.
dismissive of it because it really.
No.
I think it's kind of cool.
recovery implies that it's a lifelong, practice, right? Whereas recovered implies that we are done, we have graduated, we are finished, and
Right.
we have gone through the program,
So,
we are recovered,
yeah.
and we're done.
We absolutely could do a whole podcast on this, actually, if you think about it. But yeah, maybe we couldn't, but we could dedicate quite a bit of time to it. I mean, what do you think?
Next week's
Recovery
next
versus-
next
is
week's
our-
show is our.
All right, yeah, cool.
So,
Podcast done. See y'all around.
I think so. I won't. You know what? I would like to save that one for next week, but I will just say briefly that it's different for different people. I find that
Right, yeah. Yeah.
that recovery for me is something that it's more than just it's a substance that I was addicted to. It's become this sort of it's this way of life, right? It's just rules that I use to dictate my actions now.
Right. So do
So
you
I have
consider
this set of
yourself
rules.
recovered then? Are you in progress, or has the progress been finished?
I am still very much in progress.
Same
I'm
here.
I'm
Yeah.
a year behind you, and not that the years are that important, because you can pack a lot of, you can be more efficacious with your time. I
Right,
guess.
right.
Some people can, like dealing with their shit and stuff like that, because I still have a lot of things in my head and in my heart that I want to get out. So and get rid of and to let go of.
This is great,
So-
though, because it is literally like, when do we get to stop? I guess you get to stop when you die. And hopefully die sober. You
And
know,
hopefully
that
die
was
sober.
always my goal. If I could say anything, the goal is just die sober. God, that seems dark as fuck, though. But what I mean is, like, to live a long, fulfilling life and
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, not,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I mean, if my liver gives out from all the shit I did in the past, then my liver gives out, you know, or my lungs give out from all the shit I did. But at least I know that, like, I can look at my daughter and be like, oh, man, I didn't fuck your life up that bad. You know what I mean? Or, like, look at my wife and be like, I didn't fuck you up that bad, you know? Like, so, I don't know. I say it in a weird... It's self-deprecating, I know, but...
Sure. But no, I think the important distinction from what I'm hearing and what I think about in my life is, like, I don't have kids, but in the relationships that I have is, like, I can take accountability and I can take responsibility for the actions that that I'm a part of, and the things that I say and the things that I do. Whereas, not that I shouldn't during, you know, when I was drinking, but when I was drinking, I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that stuff.
No.
So it was self-destructive. It was destructive outwardly.
It was, like, never John's fault.
No, I wasn't. I was drunk, you know, whatever. Cut me some slack, man. I was drunk. Who cares?
Right.
What's the big deal? You know? And so, like, you can say, oh, maybe I made a mistake with a relationship. Maybe I made a misstep. Maybe I said something I shouldn't have. I apologize. Can we move past it? If not, then I've ruined something, and now I can take responsibility for that and hopefully fix the thing inside me that helped to ruin that relationship. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I would like to talk to you further about that. I think that's a great one, and you know, next week is our.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Texas, dude. You just got a whole podcast.
Right.
Yeah, because that's a good one. Yeah. We'll talk about it at length later.
But yeah, it's I think, yeah, we'll talk about it. I think we'll talk about it because I was gonna do one called, like, R is for running a marathon or something, but I don't think that's very interesting.
Nah, we talk about running a lot. Both of us do. We talk about our exercise a lot. There's people out there who don't exercise at all. Be like, just get to the fucking no more drinky. Come on.
So he says he's got a few other ones, and these ones are a little bit easier. But it says but he says coffee or tea. Which one?
Oh, cold brew coffee. I fuck with
Yeah,
that cold brew big time, dude.
You didn't used to drink coffee though. You used to be
Because it would make me shit my pants because I was full of whiskey. But I think now, but I also don't drink hot brew coffee. The cold brew coffee is way easier on my stomach. Like I don't get cramps. I don't shit my pants. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make me feel like I'm gonna not throw up, but it doesn't make my intestines all fucking weird. So yeah, cold brew coffee like 99% of the time. The occasional pumpkin spice latte because I fucks with that shit. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Whole
I love
milk
them.
and everything?
Everything, but only once, maybe once a month because that does fuck with my gut because I'm lactose intolerant like crazy.
Ugh.
Which I've discovered every time I eat a quesadilla, I'm like, what have I done to my life? But I love quesadillas and I love pizza. And I'm probably going to eat some of that good-ass cheese tonight. But everyone around me suffers. I'm fine.
I'm a coffee person for sure. I think occasionally I like a nice cup of like decaf tea at night if it's cold, you know, like a nice
tea's good
fall
though.
Evening.
I used to love Earl Grey, man. Yeah, anyway, I didn't mean
I like
to talk
the ginger
over you.
tea.
Ginger tea, huh?
I
Nice.
like ginger.
It's good for your digestive system.
Good spicy, yeah. I mean, I don't have too many. As long as I watch what I eat, I don't have too many gastrointestinal issues. But
Yeah.
But yeah. He also says, "What's your favorite color, Jerry? Do you have a favorite
I don't.
color?
I don't have a favorite color. I guess colors I like to wear. I really like. If we're talking about what I like to wear, because colors in general, right? I'm not like, hey, I'm gonna get a car and it's gonna be red or whatever. I gotta go with like your basic dark colors, black, dark blues, dark grays. But like to paint with, if I were painting, some of my favorite colors is like cadmium red, pryol red. I don't know if you pronounce it like that. Pryolle. I think it's pryol or puriol. The pryol reds and oranges are fucking really bright reds. They're almost orange. Persimmon's a red color to paint with. I like hot colors to paint with and dark colors to put on my clothes.
Everything okay over there?
Yeah, I thought it was my dog growling. I think he's growling at the cat through the door.
Oh yeah, Jerry's had this cat show up on his doorstep, literally.
Somebody knocked on my window and just left a cat on my doorstep. So now I guess I have a cat now.
And what's
that's like a spooky.
Isn't that the name of that Fred Armisen show on HBO?
Yes, because it's a
Los
play on the word
Espookys?
Los Espookies, because when you speak Spanish and English, your S's sound like S, like ES. So it's like a Star Wars, Espooky, a station. Are you certain? Yes.
Are you certain?
Yeah.
So now you have a cat?
I guess. Yeah, it's in my room. Just fucking, and the dog's trying to get used to it, and I got to go buy kitty litter after this podcast.
Jesus.
And she's cute. She's super sweet. I'm not even gonna act put out. The dog, I'm put out. He and I have a tenuous relationship, but the cat's very sweet. I love cats. I'm very allergic to cats too. So we're gonna see how this goes. It's just like me and booze. I loved booze. I was very allergic to it. Yet I carried on.
Take like Claritin or something like that, or do you have to get on a daily regimen?
I don't know. We're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna fucking take it as it comes. We'll see what happens.
You didn't drop it off at the pound or anything, or the...
She took it to the pet clinic yesterday to see if it was chipped. It was not chipped. And we have she was like, well, I got a vet's appointment for her next Thursday. And I'm like, why do we have a vet's appointment? I thought you were going to take her to the ASPCA. And she's like, well, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, I guess we have a cat now. Like, that was it. That was the whole conversation.
Wow. Well, there you go.
We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll just let her back out again and she'll just be the neighborhood's cat. It happens to eat at our house. Who knows? It's very cold out right now, though, so I'm not letting her go anywhere. Because it was like 26 degrees this morning.
Nobody needs that.
No
little cat needs that.
You know.
What were we gonna say? Oh, colors. I was just gonna say I usually, like, if I got to pick between two things and one of them's like red and one of them's green, I usually go with green or blue. But I mean, I don't paint, so I'm not like, I don't gravitate to specific colors.
Right, but like your dream suit. Let's say you're gonna buy a nice suit. What color would it be?
If I was gonna buy a nice suit, I would probably go with something I could, because I think with a suit I would probably go with like a nice charcoal gray.
Right, some utilitarian, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that I could get, but then the ties, I could get like a nice green tie, I could get a blue tie, I could get a red tie, and then I could get matching socks.
They'd be
I
like,
think it's more important to coordinate than
that. John, he's a sharp dresser. You see his ties?
Exactly.
His ties are always on point.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go with a white seersucker, man. I've always wanted a white seersucker. You wore a white linen suit to my wedding, and I was like, that shit's pretty sharp, dude.
I did.
I mean, he rolled around the grass in it, but it was still pretty sharp.
It's true. And I fucked up because I was trying to iron it, and I put the iron too hot, and then I burned like an iron mark on the back.
Yeah, you did.
Of that thing. Mm-hmm. Oh, that thing was. I was a mess that whole trip. That was years ago. That was 10 years ago.
It's 10 years ago.
What's your favorite movie, Jerry?
Well, it's not the Shining anymore, but
No.
No, that was a joke. I don't know. It's a great question. I have lots of favorite movies.
I think.
What's your favorite movie this year? That's a better one because then it's more specific.
What's my favorite movie this year?
Of this year,
seen that many movies.
You haven't?
Let me think. What was the last movie? I went and saw. I was with my cousin or my brother and his little kid, and we saw the Angry Birds 2. It was
you like
terrible.
it? Turn you on?
It did not at all. It was terrible. There was a lot of plot holes and things I didn't fully understand.
You're like, this makes no sense. It follows no linear story at all. Why are these birds so angry?
Mm-hmm. What else did I go see? What did I go see? Rashida and I went and saw a movie just recently, and I was not impressed. I don't remember what it was. That's how.
Like,
I don't go to the movies so much, man, because
no,
it's like
me neither.
Every time I go, I'm like, eh.
You just boo, just boo the Joker. You're like, this movie's dumb,
right? I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's so much hype and buzz and divisiveness over like a movie like the Joker. I'm not even that. I'll watch it though. Comic book, yeah. I mean, I kind of am curious, but I don't really care that much. Like, I gotta invest.
I'll tell you what, dude.
What?
My favorite movies this year. Have you seen Mandy? With Nicolas Cage? Fucking awesome horror flick. Midsummer was an awesome horror movie. Yeah, they've been mostly horror movies I've liked this year. Mm-hmm. Midsummer was good. We watched one. I cannot remember the name of it now. It was an independent film about these two brothers who are part of like a cult, part of a death cult, and they leave it and they come back to it again. And that was that had thriller elements to it, and I cannot remember the name of it right now. But it was a fucking phenomenal movie. It was on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the name of it right now, but those are some of my favorite movies this year. I mean,
Oh,
we
you
watched
know
the
what?
comic book movies and liked them, but I don't really. I feel like I gotta agree with Scorsese a little bit. I feel like they're carnival rides more than they are. I mean, they're movies. I'm not gonna say they're not cinema, but they're not. There's nothing there for me. It's all shallow.
I mean, technically, Snickers and Doritos are food, but
But yeah, like
you can eat them and they have
Right.
calories.
Mhm.
But you know what I was gonna say is there's a couple. There was a movie earlier this year called The Biggest Little Farm. It was a documentary about these people down in Southern California who took this fucking desert land and they turned it into a sustainable biodynamic farm, and it was fucking awesome, and it was really epic, and it made me fucking feel the feels.
you cried at a
People-
documentary about a pig farm.
I did, yes, yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Man, you are soft.
And then there's one movie I haven't seen that I want to see. What'd you say?
I said,
That
man, you
what?
are soft.
You
He's
better
soft.
believe it.
Your soft birthday party.
There's a movie called The Story of Plastic that I went on a boat ride with a guy who helped write it, produce it, and was a part of it. And so he's traveled around the world on his boat, and it's basically the story of plastic and how it's pervasive, and the big plastic island that's out there, the garbage island that's out there in the Pacific. And
Right.
So I haven't seen it yet, but I definitely want to. I was trying to go this last time that it was here around at one of these film festivals, and it was already all sold out. So
You like them documentaries. I have loved documentaries, but Megan doesn't like them, so then I have to watch them alone. And if I'm alone, I'm just going to play Conan Exiles. So I'm like,
Right.
eh. Oh, and the movie I saw was called The Endless on Netflix. It was a good thriller.
Oh, Endless. I remember
Yeah.
what movie
Like-
it was that we went to go see. It was called Lucy in the Sky, about the astronaut lady.
Yeah, was that good? I saw a trailer
No.
for it, and it looked
No.
good. No?
Well, so here's the thing. I didn't realize that's what it was about. I remember that story in the news. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was going to be like some weird space movie, and we got in there, and there's a little bit of her in space, and then it's just like, it was just not interesting.
Wait,
And
was it the movie
motivation-
about the lady who put the diaper on?
Yes.
It was about the lady who put the diaper on to go kill her ex?
Yes.
Holy shit, they made
it
the
wasn't-
trailer look like it was this fantastical space film and a woman who beats
No.
all the odds to be a badass astronaut, and it's just the crazy lady who stalked a dude.
And that should have been, I mean, that was pretty epic that she did that.
Yeah,
that was- but
But come on, man,
But
I could put diapers on right now and drive somewhere.
right?
Nobody's
It
going
was
to give
not
me
that
any
great.
love.
I
Yeah.
was not that impressed, and I didn't. Again, this is another thing where like the motivations of the characters, they didn't live up to the actions, and so I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that so quickly? Why? And it's mostly just like for the convenience of the plot.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went and saw that because again, her and I don't always agree on what movies to go see, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out, because I thought it was gonna be something cool, like that movie Gravity or fucking Interstellar, or it was gonna have some weird, space thing with some philosophical whatever. So
Right.
don't go see it.
I won't. I don't plan on it.
And then our final question, and if you're concerned that maybe this episode is too short and you're like, hey man, these guys are
I'm
cutting
okay with
short.
it.
I know you are. Jerry's got a busy day. Well, we both do. But this is from Turner Painting TX. He just says, are you happy? Are you happy, Jerry?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I would say generally I'm content more than happy, because happy would mean that I'd just be walking around smiling like a fool all the time, bugged out eyes. And I'm content. I would say I'm happy. I'm happy enough times to feel content. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, like, on the whole, things are pretty happy. I think
Yeah.
there are still, like, there's still issues that I deal with that roll around in my head, and this idea that, like, shit with my dad, and where I want to be in my life. And so I think a lot of that just comes from me being frustrated with how things are right now.
Yeah.
When I have so much to be grateful for. The power's on. I'm not on fire. Things like that. So I
Yep.
think that any of those feelings of being unhappy or not having what I want, it's just kind of like you got to flip that perspective, right? It's
Yeah.
just because otherwise then I could be as miserable as I want. I have the power.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's relative day by day, but I think on the whole I have everything I need, and Nothing I don't.
Right.
If I don't want.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Does that sound? That sound smart?
Yeah, it sounded pretty smart. You're hired. I think I'm in the same boat as you. I'm generally just content. Like, I've got shit. I broke my toe. That shit hurt a couple weeks ago, and I'm still limping, and I'm always broke, and that shit hurts, but that's all right. And like, I got vertigo in the middle of the night. I don't know what's up with that. I guess I'm just getting old. Like, I woke up I woke up spinning with the spins, and I was like, oh, did I break something now? What the fuck? Did I break something in my brain? It happened twice last night. So I looked it up, and then they were like, "You're fine. You're just old." That's what Bing said. I asked Jeeves.
You asked Jeeves? Still?
Yeah, I asked Jeeves. No, I went on Google, and they had some fancy name for getting vertigo in a lying position. It has something to do with your blood pressure or something. But I have great blood pressure, so I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Who knows? Cool. I don't know. Maybe it's that cat. A cat's fucking doing magic spells on me. Next whole like podcast will just be exactly. It'll just be me talking about how this cat is fucking my life up.
Well, if the cat was actually doing magic spells, you would be like, I'm gonna let the cat talk on this podcast.
Right, and then I just smash its head into the microphone for She purrs a lot. She's very sweet.
Okay.
She's a big purr.
Spooky.
Spooky. It was either that or Mrs. America.
Who came up with that one?
Well, because Olive wanted to name our dog. First, she named the dog Coco, and then 2 days later was like, I think his name should be Mr. America. And I was like, well, we already got the paperwork out for Coco, goddammit. Because Mr. America is a great name. So then after I named this cat a Spooky, which we still haven't done yet, I'm like, maybe we should name her Mrs. America.
Mrs. America.
It'd be a funny-ass name for a cat. Or just Jerry Jr.
Jerry Jr., the cat?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. Well, there you have it. There's
right.
the questions. Your questions have been answered.
I had one question, but I lost it, so I'm sorry. I don't even remember what it was really, but it was asked by my counter guy at the tattoo shop, and I absolutely lost it. So next round, I'll get you.
Next round. So if you have any further questions, if there's things that you want to hear about. If you have suggestions for topics that we have not touched on,
we love that shit. Help us out. Help us out. Help us help you.
If there's like blind spots that we're not seeing, just drop us a line on Instagram, on Facebook. We're even I occasionally check the Twitter feed, although I don't really know what I'm doing on Twitter too much.
Well, you're not a Russian bot, so
right.
Yeah.
Or you can email us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com. So yeah, there you have it.
All right.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.